the Western Conference might be more stacked than ever before. There's the reigning champion Golden State Warriors, the 64-win Phoenix Suns, the rising Memphis Grizzlies, the Luka-led Mavs fresh off a Western Conference Finals run, the young Timberwolves who added Rudy Gobert, the young Pelicans who have a healthy Zion now, the Clippers with Kawhi, PG, and the deepest roster in the league, the Blazers with a healthy Dame and an improved roster, and last but definitely not least, the Denver Nuggets. Led by the back-to-back reigning MVP Nikola Jokic, the Nuggets have a chance to do something special this season. The last couple years for Denver have been derailed by injuries, but they seem to finally be fully healthy and have made a few key acquisitions that raise their ceiling. In this video, I want to break down why I'm so high on the Denver Nuggets and talk about why they'll not only get the first seed in the West, but why they should be one of the favorites to win the whole thing. Let's talk about it. The Denver Nuggets have had a rough past few seasons. In 2021, star guard Jamal Murray was having a career year, averaging 21.2 points per game, 4 rebounds and 4.8 assists on 47.7% shooting from the field, 40.8% from 3, and 86.9% from the line, but suffered an ACL tear in the closing minute of a game versus the Warriors on April 12th, putting him out for the rest of the year as well as the 2022 season. In 2022, Michael Porter Jr. joined Jamal Murray on the injured list, suffering a back injury that would keep him out for the year after playing just 9 games. These injuries to 2 of their top 3 players would limit their playoff success, but in the midst of everything, Nikola Jokic became one of the best players in the NBA. Over the last 2 seasons, Nikola Jokic has won back-to-back MVP awards, a feat that has only been done by 12 other players in league history. This past year, Jokic put up 27.1 points per game, 13.8 rebounds, 7.9 assists, and 1.5 steals on a career-high 66.1 true shooting percentage. He also had the highest player efficiency rating of all time with a 32.85, surpassing Wilt Chamberlain, who had a 32.08 in 1962, exactly 50 years ago to the year. He became just the second player to finish top 10 in the league in total points, rebounds, and assists in a season, joining Russell Westbrook. He also had 19 triple-doubles and became the first player in NBA history to record 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in a single season. Additionally, he was first in win shares, first in box plus minus, and led the league with a 16.3 net rating. It's honestly kind of hard to put into words just how good he was, but hopefully those stats kind of paint you a picture. Jokic has become not just a top 3 player in the modern league, but is rising up all-time leaderboards. Probably the most impressive feat of this past season for him, though, was carrying a Nuggets roster without its second and third best players to the 6th seed in the Western Conference, winning 48 games in the process. They were just 4 games behind the 3-seeded Golden State Warriors, who they'd face in the first round, losing in 5 games. Jokic is, of course, the main reason I believe in this team. He's been incredible these past 2 seasons, and he's only getting better every single year. He's in a position where the only thing holding him back from winning a 3rd straight MVP award is probably voter fatigue. He's a one-man wrecking ball, one of the most clutch players in the league, and an offensive dynamo. He elevates everyone around him and can will almost any roster to the playoffs. The fact that the Nuggets won 48 games this past season without his 2 co-stars is honestly nothing short of miracle work pulled off by Jokic, and he's about to get those co-stars back. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., who both effectively missed the entirety of last year, are slated to return on day 1 of the regular season and will both make a major impact immediately. Starting with Jamal Murray, who, as I mentioned before, was having a career year in 2021 prior to his season-ending injury. He's a high-level scoring guard that can put the ball in the basket from basically anywhere on the court and can immediately alleviate some of the pressure on Nikola Jokic. He was averaging 21.2 points per game at just 23 years old. I'd honestly be surprised if he didn't come back and continue to rise upwards towards maybe 23 or 24 points per game this season. Sure, he might start slow after not playing for around 17 months, but he was never really a player that relied much on his athleticism to score. I don't feel like it'll take him very long to get back into rhythm, especially with a guy like Nikola Jokic there to set him up for easy buckets and carry the most of the offensive load. But even if it takes Murray some time to get back to his peak self, by the time the playoffs roll around, he should be back to 100%, and he's always elevated his game at that time of the year. In his 2 playoff runs, 36 total games, Murray averaged 26.5 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, 5.8 assists on 47.3% shooting, 40.9% from 3, and 90% shooting from the free throw line. He's also had some incredible individual games, including 2 50-point performances versus the Jazz in the first round in 2020, a 40-point Game 7 versus the Clippers in the second round, and a 28, 8, and 12 game versus the Lakers in the 2020 Western Conference Finals. These are elite level numbers, and those series were prior to Jokic reaching his MVP level. If he puts up anything close to those numbers in the playoffs this season, he and Jokic will be one of the best duos in the entire NBA during the playoffs. I wouldn't even be surprised if Jamal takes it up another notch, to be honest, with more talent around him than ever before. Then we have Michael Porter Jr. MPJ missed his whole rookie season due to a back injury, but was pretty good in his technical rookie season in limited minutes. But as was the case with Murray, MPJ's big breakout year was the 2020-2021 NBA season. That year, Porter Jr. averaged 19 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, and 1.1 assists on an absurd 54.2% shooting from the field and 44.5% shooting from 3. Now, I'm sure these numbers look insane on their own, but let's put it into historical perspective. MPJ that season had a 64.6 effective field goal percentage. That's the second highest effective field goal percentage in a season all time, while scoring 19 or more points per game, only behind Wilt Chamberlain, who had a 68.3 effective field goal percentage. And he did that at just 22 years old. In the playoffs that year, he did cool off a little bit, averaging 17.4 points per game on 58 effective field goal percentage, but that's still pretty good. Like with Murray, MPJ is someone that I don't anticipate will take long to get back to his usual self. His primary role will be spotting up for threes, while sometimes attacking off the dribble or pulling up for a mid-range jumper, a role that he can somewhat ease back into. Once again, having an incredible creator like Jokic will help a ton. I'm really excited to see these 3 back on the court, as they did amazing things last time we saw them all play, another good omen for their success this season. Denver has had just 1 playoff run with these 3 healthy, which came back in 2020. Back then, they faced off against the Jazz in the first round, went down 3-1, but made a comeback to win in 7 games. In the second round, they went down 3-1 again, this time against the Los Angeles Clippers, many people's title favorites heading into the season, and, like they did in round 1, came back to win in 7 games. This is the only time in NBA history that a team has come back from multiple 3-1 deficits in a single playoff run. They showed incredible resilience and drive in those playoffs, something that will be highly valuable to them going forward. In the Western Conference Finals, they ended up losing to the eventual NBA champion Los Angeles Lakers in 5 games, but they kept it pretty close, losing Game 2 off of a Anthony Davis game-winning 3 at the buzzer, and losing Game 4 by just 6 points. So we know they can be successful late into the playoffs, and they've only gotten better since then. For a more recent example of their success, we can look at their play post-2021 trade deadline. At this deadline, the Nuggets added Aaron Gordon, who is an incredible fit right away, as he brings a much-needed defensive force to the team and takes some of the pressure to do so off of Nikola Jokic, while also giving them a lob threat and someone who can grab boards. He's vital to their success, and immediately after adding him to the team, they went on an 8-game win streak. This stretch included great wins against the Hawks, Sixers, and Clippers, who are all really good that year, and blowouts of teams you'd expect that they should blow out, like San Antonio, Detroit, and Orlando. They were starting to look the part of real contenders, at least up until Jamal Murray would tear his ACL a few games later, and if he didn't, I really think Denver could have had a shot to win the 2021 title. Now that they're back and healthy, I expect them to pick back up right where they left off, especially with the new and improved supporting cast around this core 4 that they have. Joining Joker, Murray, MPJ, and Gordon in the starting lineup will likely be Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a new acquisition in a trade that they made with the Wizards in the offseason. KCP is a great fit as a 3-and-D player who should thrive with all the great wide-open catch-and-shoot opportunities he's going to get off Jokic and Murray passes. Off the bench, they have names like Bones Highland, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, Ish Smith, Christian Brown, and Zeke Naji. Bones Highland should bring some dynamic guard play to the table, looking to build off of an impressive rookie season. Bruce Brown brings defensive tenacity and hustle to the team as a player that any contender would love to have. Jeff Green gives them a solid backup 4 that can do a bit of everything. Ish Smith can bring some buckets if need be. Christian Brown is an NBA-ready rookie that can contribute right away, and Zeke Naji is an underrated young player that can do a bit of everything as well as play a 4 or a small ball 5. Really, the only hole in their roster is probably that backup center spot. They have DeAndre Jordan there, who was strangely the literal first-time signing of free agency because he's really struggled the last few years. I'd honestly be surprised if he got any form of consistent run, and I feel like that's a hole that they're going to have to address at some point during the year. But overall, the team is really deep. This past season, the Nuggets were the 10th ranked offense and the 14th ranked defense in the NBA, and I feel like this roster can build off of both of those numbers. With Jamal Murray and MPJ coming back, two potential 20 or more point per game scorers, I think Denver can very easily catapult up to the top offense in the league, and probably at worst, they'll be top 3. Defensively, additions like KCP and Bruce Brown, as well as Aaron Gordon, can bring some toughness on that end, allowing them to potentially be top 10 in defense too. Additionally, Jokic, who has traditionally been looked at as this awful defender, has really improved on that end of the floor and is a lot better than people give him credit for. This Nuggets team has a chance to be one of the best teams in the league on both sides of the ball. They won 48 games this past year, and I think they could get pretty close to 60 wins in 2023. These offseason acquisitions, combined with the return of Jamal and MPJ, can definitely add 12 or more wins to the Nuggets' 2022 total of 48. Of course, the West is absolutely stacked like we talked about at the beginning of the video, which will inevitably take away some of those potential wins. But I'd still be surprised if they didn't win around 55 to 60 games. I think Denver comes into this season looking to prove to the league that everyone was pretty lucky that they haven't been healthy these past 2 seasons. They have great offensive weapons, a solid defense, a back-to-back MVP, maybe even soon to be 3-time MVP, and they are poised to make a deep run. Barring major injuries, I think the Denver Nuggets finish as one of the top 2 teams in the Western Conference, make a Western Conference Finals run, if not, maybe pushing for the NBA Finals themselves. And don't say I didn't warn you when it happens. I appreciate y'all watching. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and turn on notifications. It helps out more than y'all know. Also, go ahead and comment down below letting me know how many wins you think the Nuggets get, and if you agree with me that they should be one of the favorites to win the whole thing. Also, let me know if you think Jokic can win back-to-back-to-back MVPs, what you're expecting from Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr., and ultimately, drop a "the Nuggets are scary" in the comment section below if you made it to the end of the video, so I know you're a real one. I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll see y'all later. Real one, say it back.